You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today we are previewing Week 10 in the NBA. If I don't choke on whatever's happening here in the air, Michael Bolton.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Indeed. It is, of course, the week of Christmas in the NBA, so the schedule looks quite different to what we would normally see. No games at all on Tuesday. So we do get some other weird type of scheduling scenarios. 11 games on Monday, 0 on Tuesday, 5 on Christmas Day, 6 on Boxing Day. And for those of you that don't know what Boxing Day is, it's just the day after Christmas. 6 on Friday, a massive, absolutely astronomically huge 14-game day on Saturday, and then 5 on Sunday to round out the week. So where are we looking to stream? Well, Monday's out, Tuesday's out because there's no games. So realistically, when we're looking at ads, we're trying to prepare for Christmas Day at this point. The Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is a really interesting stream scenario. Saturday, of course, is completely out. And then Sunday, we save an ad or two there to get guys in. So again, when we're looking here, we're making ads at the start of the week. It's not for Monday, it's not for Tuesday. It's for, can we get Tuesday, when players in for Christmas, for Thursday, for Friday? How do we maximize our advantage there while saving an ad or two for Sunday to try and attack the categories that we need at the end of the week? The week, in terms of how it looks with games played, there are 4 teams that play 2 games this week. The Brooklyn Nets, the Chicago Bulls, the Charlotte Hornets, and the LA Clippers. So, your guys like Jarrett Allen, Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., Terry Rozier, those players and anyone worse than them, I don't think they're going to be startable options. The fun guy, Kawhi Leonard, you start him. The Beatle, Paul George, you start him. Zach LaVine, he's probably a start. Devontae Graham is probably a start as well, although his field goal percentage has been pretty rough. I still likely would start him. But those other guys, we don't know about Dinwiddie because if Kyrie returns for one of those games, that really hurts Dinwiddie's value. I probably still would start Spencer. Jarrett Allen, Taurean Prince, Smokin' Joe Harris, none of those guys are really worth the start for this week for the Nets as well. So some pretty key options there that aren't going to be startable players for you during this week. If we look at quality games, and if you don't understand what a quality game is, it's a game that is played on a day with low volume. So when I talked about those streaming days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, they are quality game days. So your players, if they play a lot of quality games, that means you're able to activate them off the waiver wire, get them into your active lineup without adding them and sitting on the bench. So the team we're looking at with the most of those this week is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They play the Thursday, Friday back-to-back, and they play on Sunday. So 3 games in 4 nights. So players like a Nerlens Noel, you're going to be able to add him and use him all 3 games. Whereas other players you might add who have even 4 games this week, it might not get as much action, although all the 4-game teams do have 2 quality games. There's a number of the 3-game teams that only have the 1, and a team like the Bulls plays the 2 games, and none of them are quality game days. So even like a Chris Dunn, if he deciding to add him because you need steals, you may not even be able to use him at all this week, despite the fact that he could be an option in other times. So that is really important to be able to pay attention to as to when these guys in a daily changes league, when they play, that is almost as important, or if not equally important, to the amount of games that they overall play during the week. The majority of teams play 3 games this week. The teams that play 4, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Warriors, Kings, Sixers, Pelicans, Grizzlies, and Raptors, they all play 4 games. All of them have 2 quality games this week. The easiest schedules, the Rockets and the Nuggets have the easiest schedules. Houston plays Sacramento, Golden State, Brooklyn, and New Orleans, while the Nuggets play the Suns, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and the Kings there. So a bit of crossover with both teams playing the Kings and the Pelicans, contributing to them both having a pretty strong week in terms of matchup opponent quality. If we want to have a look at how we can perhaps attack that streaming type schedule, no teams have the Christmas Boxing Day back-to-back, so you can rule that one out. So initially, we are just looking for that stream for Christmas. And then we go to the Thursday, Friday. As I already highlighted, the Oklahoma City Thunder have that back-to-back, and they are the only team that have that back-to-back. Now, their streaming options can be a little bit on the shallow side. Noel's the number one guy. If Dennis Schroeder is available, he's a guy that should be rostered anyway, but he is an excellent stream for those 3 games in 4 nights. And then you get a little bit harder to pay attention to those guys. Terry Ferguson, woof. Abdul Nadir, yeah, probably not. Like, there's not a lot there with those Thunder guys to really get excited about from a streaming point of view. You've just got to hope that Noel or Schroeder are available to really take advantage of the way that the schedule shakes out for those guys. Friday, Saturday back-to-backs mean nothing because Saturday has 14 games. The only 2 teams not playing are the Thunder and the Charlotte Hornets. They are the only teams that do not play on Saturday. So, yeah, everyone's playing. So no matter who you add, unless it's some unbelievable free agent that's come out of nowhere and is a top 80 player, they're just not going to be of use to you. So what you want to do is look who's got a Friday, Sunday back-to-back, and maybe you can stream that guy on Friday and get the two ads there. So you attack someone for Wednesday, get 2 ads on Wednesday, 1 ad on Thursday, and then another ad for your Friday, Sunday back-to-back. That is a way to do it. So the Friday Sunday pseudo back-to-backs, the Thunder have that one, as we mentioned, and then all the way down to the Charlotte Hornets. They are the only 2 teams. So streaming this week, in terms of making the most of getting 2-for-1s, it's really hard. It's the Thunder, who do it twice with that Thursday, Friday, and Friday, Sunday, and then it's the Hornets with the Friday, Sunday. No one else has that back-to-back type scenario. So that could help you in terms of just getting 1 extra game up on your opponents, because everyone else is going to be coming in and getting the 1 game, 1 day. Stream Wednesday, 1 game. Stream Thursday, 1 game. Stream Friday, 1 game. Whereas you could come in, if you have this knowledge, and get the Thursday, Friday with, and then also add another play. So that's 2 for the price of 1 there, and then get the Friday, Sunday with the Hornets or Thunder guy. Now, Miles Bridges has been pretty terrible, but maybe you look to re-add him for that Friday, Sunday back-to-back. Cody Zeller, Bismack Biyombo, Marvin Williams, all of these guys, Malik Monk could have value there. So there's quite a bit there with Charlotte, despite them having only 2 games. The fact that they don't play at all for the week and then play on those 2 low volume days to end the week, Friday and Sunday, gives them marginal value in that daily changes format. Of course, in a weekly lineup, it's pretty shitty for them for this upcoming week. Now, if we have a look at players who I think could be available on your wire that you might be able to actually add and plug into a weekly lineup, there's quite a few of them. If we look at Willie Cauley-Stein for the Golden State Warriors, 4 games this week, and players that have 4 games this week, because the majority of teams play 3. If your guy plays 4, that is a real advantage. And it does make them push ahead of these other guys significantly. So when it's a week where everyone plays 4, 16 teams play 4 and then 10 teams play 3, those 4-game weeks aren't as big of an advantage. When you're at a situation here where there's only 8 teams playing 4 games, they are, and that really boosts them up. So guys like Alec Burks and Willie Cauley-Stein of the Golden State Warriors. Now, Burks he's a must-roster guy regardless, but he's not rostered in all leagues, so he could be a guy, or he is a guy that you should be targeting, especially for this week. Willie Cauley-Stein works out pretty well. Someone like Gaz Harris, who's been playing better of late, but the perfect schedule, 3 games at home for the week, 4 games, good opponents, really like his ability to contribute this week. Nemanja Bjelica, they continue to play him big minutes at the starting power forward, the Kings do. Lonzo Ball and Josh the Hitman Hart. Lonzo put up 6 steals last game for the Pelicans, still in that bench role, but with 4 games, that tips him over the edge. Jackson Hayes also there as well for the Memphis Grizzlies. You've got Dylan Brooksy Brooks, Jay Crowder with 4 games as well this week. Brooks has been playing much better of late, and while he's getting his shots to go in, while the usage is up, while the minutes are up, then you go and utilize him. For the Raptors, the Jedi, OG Anunoby.
Hello there.
Hello there indeed. I haven't seen Star Wars yet. I'm going to go see it next weekend probably, so I'm going to try and avoid spoilers for the next week. Paddy McCaw as well, who again is not a great player, but he can get steals. His minutes look like they're going to be up, and he plays 4 games. So that gives McCaw potentially for this week coming up top 100 value, which in a weekly league is likely going to be useful enough for you to add and to start. If Flaming Mo Wagner actually ever returns, yeah, he would be an ad. They have a pretty strong schedule, twice against the Knicks and once against the Pistons. But if he doesn't play, then it's down to only 2 games. If he misses 1 game, and that's a real disaster. But otherwise, Wagner would be a very interesting pickup for this week ahead. for fantasy basketball. Some other options that we can look at, more of a streaming type scenario of guys who could be available in more leagues, and I'm going to go through and talk about our advanced roster percentage over on Basketball Monster. Now, Bielitz is one of those players who I think has some value there. Dan House, maybe this could be an interesting week for him. Played a little bit better last game, far from a must roster guy. Marv Williams, Josh Okogie, available almost everywhere. Crowder has some value this week. Kent Bazemore as an interesting option for this week. The Hammer Denzel Valentine could work for you. Royce O'Neal is available in tons of leagues. Alex Len might be a stream guy to target on certain days. DJ Augustin could have some value. He's on a real hot streak at the moment, as is Ish Smith. And Jordan Clarkson just went bananas yesterday. That'll do it for my Week 10 preview. I'll be back tomorrow to look at waiver wire ads across multiple leagues and short and long-term type value. So make sure you're subscribing. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on YouTube. If you give me a thumbs up, I'll give you a thumbs up back. And if you like it, subscribe, share it, tell your friends. I'll be deeply appreciative. During the week, there is going to be, just a scheduling note, there won't be a show on Christmas or on my Christmas Day, so there'll be no preview for the Christmas Day games. I'll be with my family celebrating Christmas, but there will be a recap of the Christmas Day games and then schedule as per usual after that. And that's really the only change for the schedule coming up. So you still get a bunch of shows, you get the mini shows, you get all the recap shows, you just won't get a preview for the Christmas Day shows for this upcoming week. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.